Killers of the Flower Moon is directed by legendary filmmaker Martin Scorsese and stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone. And ever since this film played at some festivals earlier in the year and people were just nonstop raving about it, it's been one of my most anticipated films of 2023. When oil is discovered in 1920s Oklahoma under Osage Nation land, the Osage people are murdered one by one until the FBI steps in to unravel the mystery. That's a very basic plot synopsis from IMDb, but essentially throughout this movie we follow Leonardo DiCaprio's character as he falls in love and gets close to an Osage woman, played by Lily Gladstone, and slowly but surely executes a plan with his uncle, William Hale, played by Robert De Niro, to murder tons of people on the Osage reservation and get claim to their money. I don't think I need to sit here and stress to you why Martin Scorsese is a good director. He's made like 50 iconic movies at this point, but something that I've always found really impressive about him is that even at this stage in his career, he's still putting out some of his best work. Wolf of Wall Street, Silence, The Irishman, arguably those are some of his best movies, and he's made all of those after turning 70 years old. That's just unheard of that a director like that has been able to have that much vitality in his career even after turning that age. That's just remarkable. Very few people have made as many great films as he has. So naturally, like anybody who loves movies, I was really excited to see him coming out with a new movie this year and also working in collaboration with Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, two of the best actors who have ever lived. And right off the bat, one of the things about this movie that makes it work as well as it does are these three main performances. Robert De Niro actually kind of surprised me here. He plays someone who you would definitely describe as a wolf in sheep's clothing, someone who forges a really strong relationship with the Osage people and invests in their town and gets to know all of them like he's part of their family. But under the surface, he has a very clear agenda that is sickening and evil and completely motivated by greed, but he only lets it on to the people closest to him that he's trying to manipulate into carrying out some of these evil things that he wants to do. And it just seems like he had a lot of fun with this role, and he just does a really good job at playing this slimy, disgusting person. DiCaprio is also fantastic here. I know a lot of critics have been calling this his best performance recently, and I'm not totally sure if I would agree with that just because I feel like he has played characters that are somewhat similar to this before. That being said, he does a really good job. There's definitely a lot of conflict in this character because he falls in love with Molly, one of the Osage people, and really cares about her, but he's also very easily manipulated, and his uncle cons him into helping him hatch this plot to essentially kill all of her family. Now, I thought DiCaprio played that really well. There's a couple moments in here in particular where you could probably cut it together for like an Oscar sizzle reel if he gets nominated, which he probably will be. There's this one towards the end of the film where it's just this one take that sits on him for a long period of time, and you can read so many different things just from looking at his face. But the real standout for me in this movie was Lily Gladstone as Molly Burkhart. She is a revelation in this film. It's a very quiet performance. She spends a lot of the movie kind of just processing what's happening around her and talking very softly. But there's something about her voice and her demeanor. She just has this very commanding presence. And every time she was on screen, I could not look away. I don't even know how to totally describe it. It's just like she has this voice where some of the things she says just cut like a knife, and you can feel the emotion coming out of her voice. And I thought she just did a phenomenal job, and I really loved her character. If De Niro, DiCaprio, and Gladstone all get nominated for Oscars, do not be surprised because they're all fantastic in this movie and really make it what it is. The length of this movie will definitely be a topic of discussion because it is 3.5 hours long, similar to The Irishman, which was Scorsese's last movie, which is extremely long. There's no denying that. But because Scorsese is such a great filmmaker, he has a way of making 3.5 hours feel like it's actually 2.5. This movie moves at a lightning pace, and there wasn't really a single scene where I felt bored or like I wanted to check how much time was left. It's paced extremely well, and part of that is Thelma Schoonmaker's incredible editing. It kind of feels invisible and like it fades into the background. She's a longtime collaborator of Martin Scorsese's and has worked with him on tons of movies, and yet again she proves here why she's one of the best to ever do it. The film also looks gorgeous. It's beautifully shot by cinematographer Rodrigo Prieto, who's having a great year after also shooting Barbie. Every technical aspect of this movie is flawless. You kind of know what you're getting with a Martin Scorsese movie. He puts so much time and effort and dedication into his films, and apparently this is one that he's wanted to get off the ground for a long time and just didn't really have the time or the resources to make it in the past, but now he actually was able to put it out. And that shows in a lot of ways, and this was definitely a good story for him to tell because it tackles a lot of subject matter that he's really good at. Unfettered capitalism, greed, betrayal, American crime. These are all things that he excels with as a storyteller. And interestingly enough, even though it's set in a different time period, the way this movie tells its story feels very similar to some of his gangster mafia films like The Irishman or Goodfellas. It's a devastating true crime story about betrayal and greed that not a lot of people know about. This story is not really given a lot of attention in modern day. And I think that's definitely part of why Scorsese wanted to tell it. And it does feel like the movie kind of addresses that with its ending, which I think will be a topic of conversation for a lot of people. I really loved it. I thought what Scorsese was going for was super ballsy. And I thought it just really hammered home the point that this movie was trying to make. And it just says a lot about crime stories and the way we perceive them and the way they're presented in American history. And I just thought it was really effective. It was hard for me to find any real issues I had with the movie. I would say this might just be me like being really nitpicky, but I would say the movie might have benefited a little bit from being even more immersed in the Native American perspective of this story. I feel like I could have used a little bit more of Lily Gladstone or just some scenes from her perspective. You definitely get a decent amount with her, and she's definitely one of the main focuses of the story. But there's also a period towards, I guess I would say, the second half, where she plays a little bit less of a central role. And the movie makes a choice to focus more on the investigation that occurs with Leonardo DiCaprio's character and William Hale and Jesse Plemons, who comes in as an FBI agent, which is definitely engaging in its own right. But I just think some points could have been hammered home a little bit more if they had chosen to focus more on Lily Gladstone and the Native American perspective in some of the later moments in the film. That's kind of it, if I'm being honest. I pretty much loved everything about this movie. I thought the way it told its story was just heartbreaking and devastating, and the performances were so good, the way it was directed, the way it was shot, the way it was edited. Scorsese is an absolute master of his craft, and I'm so happy that he's still putting out films that are this good and working with all these talented people and just still having that level of vitality in his career. It's amazing to see. We should all just sit back and be grateful for the fact that we get to go to a theater in 2023 and watch a 3.5-hour movie directed by Martin Scorsese, starring two of the greatest actors who have ever lived. It's just such a privilege that we get to do that. If it wasn't clear already, I highly recommend that you go out and see Killers of the Flower Moon. It's one of the best films of the year. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Have you seen Killers of the Flower Moon? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, what's your favorite Martin Scorsese movie? I think mine might be Goodfellas, but I'm also a big Raging Bull guy, so it could be between those two. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. I'm hoping to put out some more stuff before the end of the year, including a game review for Spider-Man 2, which I just played for like a week straight, and I have a lot to say about it. So you can look forward to that very soon. Also, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.